My dad assigned me the broken one at birth. I was born 5 years after my brother, Evan the golden child, the miracle baby who survived a difficult birth. My arrival, by contrast, was an accident that lived, as my father liked to joke at family gatherings. He said it with a smile, but everyone knew he meant it. The day Mom brought me home from the hospital, he taped 2 labels to our nursery doors: Evan the heir and Lily the spare. Dad was a former college football player, whose entire life revolved around reliving his glory days through his son. From the time Evan could walk, Dad had him throwing footballs, running drills, lifting weights. By age 10, Evan had a trophy case bigger than my closet. I, on the other hand, was small, asthmatic, and more interested in books and drawing. Dad used to laugh when he saw me reading. "You'll never get anywhere hiding behind paper, Lily." Mom tried to defend me at first, but Dad always shut her down. "You protect the weak too much. Anne, that's why she'll never toughen up." When Evan made varsity as a freshman, Dad threw a massive party. He gave him a custom watch engraved with, "To my legacy, make me proud." The next morning, I overheard him telling Mom that if I'd been a boy, I might have been worth the effort. By middle school, I started internalizing it. I stopped joining activities, stopped asking for things, stopped expecting praise. Evan was everything Dad wanted: athletic, confident, popular, and I was just background noise. When I turned 15, a teacher noticed bruises on my wrist and asked if everything was okay at home. I told her I fell. I always told everyone I fell. Then one night, everything changed. It was Evan's senior year championship game. Scouts were in the stands, reporters on the sidelines, and Dad was vibrating with pride. The score was tied in the final quarter when Evan took a bad hit. His knee twisted the wrong way. A sound like snapping wood echoed across the field. The crowd gasped. Dad didn't even blink. He sprinted past security, shouting at the coach for letting this happen. Evan was rushed to the hospital. Torn ACL, surgery required, no more football, at least for a year. Dad spiraled. He blamed the coaches, the doctor, even Mom. Then he turned on me. "You're lucky it wasn't you," he said that night, his voice cold. At least he had something worth losing. Evan's recovery was slow. Without football, he withdrew, angry and depressed. Mom begged Dad to ease up, but he refused, forcing Evan into endless physical therapy. When Evan finally snapped and quit, Dad called him a coward and stopped speaking to him. For the first time, I saw my brother the way I'd always seen myself: invisible and disposable. One night, I found Evan sitting on the porch, staring at nothing. I handed him a sketchbook I'd been working on, drawings of his old games, each page capturing a moment where he'd looked genuinely happy. He didn't say anything, just started crying. The next morning, he was gone. He'd taken Dad's truck and vanished without a word. Dad tore apart the house in a rage, screaming at me for driving his son away. I called Mom from school the next day when he didn't calm down. By the time she got home, he'd thrown my sketchbooks into the fireplace. "This is what weakness breeds," he shouted as the pages burned. "Useless dreams." That was the moment I snapped. I recorded everything: his screaming, the threats, the bruises he'd left when he grabbed my arm. I showed it to my school counselor, who called Child Protective Services. Within a week, Dad was under investigation for domestic abuse and child endangerment. Mom filed for divorce and moved us into a small apartment across town. Evan came back 6 months later after hearing about the investigation. He was living out of his truck, working construction jobs. When he saw me, he hugged me and whispered, "You saved us." Dad was eventually convicted of assault and coercive control after multiple testimonies and hospital reports surfaced. He served 14 months in county jail. A year after his release, I held my first art exhibition, The Spare No More. Each painting depicted a different version of me: broken, bruised, rebuilding. The gallery sold out in 2 days. When Dad's sister showed him the local paper featuring my work, she said he just stared at the headline for a long time. Then quietly he said, "She was never the spare." For the first time in my life, I believed it, not because he said it, but because I no longer needed him to.